welcome to this episode of How to Start, Grow and Monetise Your Podcast with me, James Burt, and him, Alex Chisnell. Sorry for the laughing there. He's just introduced me to a band called White Lion. From not whitelion.com from the 80s, and I was rinsing him for it. But anyway, if you are a big fan of White Lion, then welcome to the podcast. Today on the podcast, we're going to talk about, what are we talking about? Oh, turning listeners into superfans. Sorry. We're turning listeners into superfans. Now, there's some really easy ways to do this. And one of the things I say when you very much get started is people are always looking for like, the audience growth and how can I get the next person, and I'm not Joe Rogan, I'm not Stephen Bartlett, I'm not high performance. Even if 10 people listen to your podcast and they consume your content and they engage with you, you have got an audience. And when you have got an audience, you have got a duty, an obligation and an opportunity to make the most of that content and that audience, because you never know where that audience is going to take you. I meet loads of people who've got small niche audiences, but they don't even bother engaging with those people. So I get into woo-woo, why is the universe going to bring you more people if you're not looking after the ones that you've already got?
Yeah, 100%.
If you've got, even as I say, you don't need lots of listeners to have a very successful podcast. You can have 100 listeners, but if they're the right listeners who might exchange money with you, become customers, clients, if that's the rationale for doing your podcast, then you should absolutely be grateful for that and act accordingly.
Yeah, and look, there's a bunch of different ways that you can build a community.
Yeah.
I think personally, a newsletter is a great way to get people to, go from being a casual listener to your podcast. It's only going to attract a certain type of person, which is a super fan that we're looking for. You want to give them a reason to want to give you their email address.
Yeah.
Okay. But a newsletter is a great way to get more of a deeper understanding of your audience. It's a great way to have a reciprocal relationship with them, where anytime that you need to know information, like actually who is my audience and how can I track more of those people, ask the people that you've got. So ask your newsletter, do a survey, have a poll. Find out who your audience actually is, and then you can really double down on that when it comes to choosing who your guests are, what you want to talk about, all those things. So I think a newsletter is a fantastic way to do that. I've always done that with my podcast. I can't remember when I decided to do that. We've talked about doing that with this podcast, but it's another thing we haven't done. Live events is a fantastic thing to do it. I used to do, small meetups for like 100 people, and then I decided to do an annual event for my podcast. So year one, we had a couple of hundred people. Next year, we had, I think, 350, 450 people to that event. People came from all over the bloody country to Poole here in people from Scotland, Sheffield, London, etc. We'd come to that event, and you're like, that is real community. And as you said, where do you start? You start with responding to people who engage with your podcast, leaving a comment on your YouTube video, leaving a DM, people who write a review, screenshot that review, put it on your social media. If you can see what their username is, tag the username in that. There's loads of ways that you can get engaged, but start from somewhere. You might have, like you said, half a dozen people who subscribe to your podcast. We'll try and get some engagement going.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you made a really good point there about like the live events. That's a great place to grow community. But you could only do a live event if you're curating superfans, because people will only take the time, effort, and energy to travel down to Poole in Dorset if they are a super fan of what you're doing. And that only comes from engagement. So if you're a very, very new podcast, you've just got started, the number one way is to engage with those who engage with you.
Correct.
Engage with those that engage with you, and they will reciprocate that. Don't worry about, a live event for, you just sort of like casually went, there's a couple of hundred people, there's 350 people. That's because you had grown a really loyal audience, because you're posting consistently, putting out great content. And I bet there was dozens and dozens of DMs that was happening at the time, and you were already responding to every single one of them. Like I say, comments on YouTube, go back to the comments. Yes, you're going to get some that will disagree with you.
Yeah.
Yes, there'll be some spam on there. Yeah. Yes, there'll be some hate on there, because you always get that, keyboard warriors from behind the scenes. But there'll also be people who go, this is really useful. Thanks at such and such. Really appreciate it. If somebody screenshots your podcast, for example, again, we mentioned her a couple of episodes ago, Emma Greedy, I think it is, who runs Good America, a very, very successful company. She's just launched a podcast called Aspire, and we talked about her on the podcast guesting episode, which we did a few weeks back. But she has got a podcast, an Instagram channel just for the podcast, and anytime anyone tags that show, they are resharing it. So that makes more people want to share it, which they then reshare, which then spreads the message of the podcast. So it's almost like we talked about it before, like audience growth or monetization, chicken or an egg, which one comes first? You have to do the engagement thing to start with to breed more engagement.
I always remember, it just prompted a memory actually, somebody who wrote a social media post about what podcast she liked, and she included my podcast in like her top 5 entrepreneurship or business podcasts. I can remember it, and she like tagged me in it, etc.
Oh, I think I remember seeing this.
She was a big fitness influencer. She had like 6-figure audience on Instagram.
Yeah.
Was working with Fit, FIT, that company that pumping their videos into Virgin leisure clubs as well as online. Blew up during lockdown, and she tagged me in it. And I literally just
Diary CEO, high performance, but big hitters.
And I was in there and I was just like, wow, that's really cool. Thank you very much. So literally start a conversation with her. We connect, we've ended up having conversations. She's like, I want to make a podcast, a couple of years, talking about years later.
Yeah.
So it's, why wouldn't you want to respond to that shit? You need to be checking your notifications for that kind of thing. So again, it is that you need to make time to do that. And there's a great book by, one of the godfathers, I would say, of podcasting, a guy called Pat Flynn.
Yeah.
Smart Passive Income being one of his podcasts. He's got a bunch of podcasts now, but he wrote a book called Superfans.
Yeah.
And one of the things he talks about is live events, but he literally talks about saying, I'm going to be in Starbucks, 7 p.m. on Wednesday, the 21st of March. Anybody that wants to come along, I'll buy you a coffee. I'd love to, find out more about who you are, what you do, and why you're listening to my show type thing. This is our first meeting. He said the first one he had was literally like 6 people turned up. Now he's doing like massive theatres, like an arena in the States with thousands of people.
Do you know what though? I think you should earn your reps and sets. I think it should start with 2 or 3 people turn up.
Yeah.
Because if you don't appreciate that, then you're never going to get to the 100,000.
My first one was 27 people, and that was because...
that's still good.
Yeah, because it was being hosted by a guy called Jimmy Cregan, who owned a company called Jimmy's Iced Coffee, and it was hosted in his HQ.
Right.
He had an email list. It was in collaboration with Virgin Startup, who I started working with at the time. So they had an email list.
Yeah.
So that's why it was 27 people and not 2.7 people.
Yeah.
But you got to start somewhere, and
that would have generated superfans, like people who wanted to come down.
I was so
Jimmy's
nervous.
Well, you should
27
be. 27
people. I can remember the number. 27 people.
Just wanted to take a quick minute to say a big thank you for watching this podcast. If you are thinking about starting your own podcast to grow your brand or your business, then we would love to help you out. Yourpodcastcourse.com is a place where you can find 55 on-demand videos. There's trainings, there's blueprints, there's guides, there's cheat sheets, there's downloads. Everything that you need to utilize and to start your own powerful podcast is in there right now.
It's guaranteed for 7 days. So if you don't like it, we'll return your money, and we're going to start you off with a fantastic offer.
Absolutely. Just because you are consuming this podcast for a limited time only, for the first 25 people only this is going to be, we're going to give you 50% off yourpodcastcourse.com. Click the link that's in the show notes. There's information there, and it will be 50% off joining the course. As I say, we will walk you through how to start, how to grow, how to monetize your podcast. We'll talk to you about artwork, setup, names, ideal listener profiles, how to get the ideal guest, how you do the interviews, how you do the 14-day launch process, everything you need to utilize and to know to create a powerful podcast. We will tell you. We've done it 400 plus times. We have done some of the most successful podcast launches in Europe at this point in time, and the exact strategy and process that we charge tens of thousands of pounds to our agency clients for, you can get access to through yourpodcastcourse.com. 50% off for a limited time only. Click the link in the show notes now. Cheers! But that 27, that first live event thing that you do, it might as well be 27,000 people.
Absolutely.
You have that same level of nerves, won't you? Yeah. But also, again, just to reiterate, you will not get to there, wherever there is, if you don't appreciate here.
Yeah.
Like what you have got right now, appreciate it, nurture it, put in the systems and processes early doors. Like I say, find ways to give more added value to your listener so that you can get them onto a mailing list. So you get their data, then give them more information, because that's how you start to breed that superfan thing. You look like Diary of a CEO, I think at the time of recording this weekend, I think it is.
Pound and swear box.
Dink. They're doing a run club. Now, why are Diary of a CEO doing a run club? Because
community.
Because it's community.
And running has exploded.
It's exploded everywhere. Yeah. But you see how many brands. So if you can turn them into superfans, it's a reciprocal exchange of value because they want to be part of it.
Should we do a dip club?
We could do a dip club, couldn't you? If you'd like to join the Start Growing Monetise, the SGM, Start Growing Monetise Dip Club.
SGM.
We could get some weird people to turn up for a dip. If you fancy dipping with us, just DM Alex Chisnell directly. The word dip.
Sea dipping. We're talking sea dipping.
Yeah, absolutely. But actually, if you think about it, like the superfan thing, like people feel grateful, like Diary of a CEO, again, Pan and Swear Jar, they do a great job of the conversation cards. They sold out. The 1% Diary, that sold out. The Run Club, they'll do a line of merch, no doubt. They could have T-shirts. You go to the live events thing, which curates superfans, but you can only do it if you've got superfans in the first place. But it just breeds and spreads the superfan thing. But it starts with, if one person says, I love your podcast in your DMs, you bloody thank them.
Yeah.
And you reshare that. If they post about your podcast, you reshare that. Great little hack here. And I think it can save you so much time and add so much more personality. Send a voice note. If someone sends you like a podcast, oh, hey Bill, thanks so much for your feedback. I really appreciate it. What specifically about the podcast do you like?
Yeah.
What can add more value to you? Thanks so much, mate. I really appreciate it.
Then asking for a review.
Then ask for a review. And there you go. Then you've gone from a listener to a superfan.
Yeah.
And those superfans will eventually, again, if you're doing a podcast to grow your brand or to grow your business, those superfans,
advocates.
100%. And they often become your customers and your clients.
Correct.
Well, if you have enjoyed this episode of the podcast, please feel free to let us know. Give us a 5-star review wherever you download your podcast. If you're someone who's thinking about starting your podcast, you can go to Your Podcast Course. yourpodcastcourse.com, and you can get more information there about how you can access 55 on-demand training videos, blueprints, cheat sheets, guides, downloads, and all that kind of good stuff. It's the process and the systems that we use to launch our clients' podcast, which we charge tens of thousands of pounds for within our agency businesses, but you can get it for just a few £100. DIY, learn on demand, learn in your own time, but start your podcast. Honestly, podcasting changed my life. Change your life, I know. There's a bunch of people that we've helped recently. It's changed their life as well. So if you're thinking about growing your brand or business through podcasting, go to Your Podcast Course and you get more information there. But from me, I'm from the Podpreneur. We'll see you on the next one. Ta-da!